Gerald, come on in. Come in. Yes. Please have a seat. Have a seat. Yeah. Well, I wanted to talk to you. I mean, you've probably noticed outside in the hall, I've already handed out these cigars to all of the other guests. Yes. Yes. Well, um, I didn't want everyone meeting us at the hospital. I mean, you know, Cynthia gave birth, and I was just worried there might be complications. So I asked that everyone meet up here at my home. And yeah, I mean, it might seem like a horribly outdated tradition. I mean, yeah, husband of the wife, or I guess in this case, fiance, hands out cigars after a baby is born, and maybe it has a pink band on the cigar if it's a girl, or a blue band if it's a boy. You know how it is. Well, I mean, in some countries, the father, yeah, only hands out cigars if it's a boy. Like I said, it's a horribly outdated tradition, but in my family, it's still done. We don't actually expect anyone to smoke the cigars, but we make sure to get a really good brand. Obviously, we can't get actual Cubans, but, you know, nothing wrong with doing some research and getting something that is somewhat close. Somewhat? Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, like I said, I handed out cigars to all the guys already. They're in the hallway. I asked them to wait for us while you and I had a conversation about Cynthia and the baby. hmm hmm Oh, you seem a bit surprised. Well, oh, that's the automatic air freshener I put in. Yeah, keeps my lovely, expensive house smelling really nice. I mean, really nice. But yeah, regarding Cynthia and the baby, um, I mean, obviously, the two of you grew up together, brother and sister. Yeah, the two of you always been close. Oh, not always. Oh, I see. I see. Not always. So in the beginning, things weren't exactly the best between the two of you. Well, I'm sure that didn't last too long, did it? No, not too long at all. And then the two of you got along great as brother and sister, raised side by side. hmm hmm I mean, I don't have a brother, and, unfortunately, yeah, yeah. Well, considering what happened with Quentin, my best friend, um, yeah, we don't talk about him anymore. We don't. So, I mean, honestly, Gerald, when Cynthia asked if you could be best man at our wedding, I was a little hesitant because, well, you know how important tradition is to me. But she said that she would really appreciate it, and so would you, so I went with that. Yeah, yeah. Um, Here's the thing. I was there when the baby was born, and yeah, I gotta be honest with you. Um, I did sign the birth certificate, but the birth certificate really doesn't mean anything. Yeah, the nurse tried to hand me another document, and I asked her what it was, and she made up some BS. Well, normally when a baby is born, they'll have a nurse come out and basically um, speak with the potential father, and the nurse will hand him two documents. One is the birth certificate, and the other one is a document that the nurse really doesn't talk about. Usually it's a female nurse, and she'll be like, well, this is just a formality document. I mean, you've already signed the birth certificate, so just need you to sign this one. Here's the thing. Later on, if it turns out that the man who signed the birth certificate isn't the biological father, well, that birth certificate really isn't legally binding. No, no, it's not. It's that other document. That's the one that's legally binding, because that's the document that says, basically, even if it turns out that the man who signs this document is not the biological father, he has agreed to be financially responsible for the baby. So, yeah, that's the document that's actually enforceable in a court of law. I don't know how it works in other states, but in New York, that's how it works. So, yeah, I didn't sign that document. Hmm. You seem a little surprised, Gerald. You seem a bit surprised. Well, here's the thing. There is literally no way that baby could be mine. Well, now you seem upset. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Let me explain. You see, when I was about 18 years old, I had a medical condition that developed, needed surgery. So the surgery was scheduled at the nearest hospital, and, well, I thought everything would be fine. It wasn't. Yes, some idiot got my chart confused with another individual's chart. So instead of the routine procedure I was supposed to have, yeah, just before I turned 20, I ended up with a vasectomy. And here's the thing. The truth is, after seeing the marriage that my parents had, the fact that they stayed together because of me and my brother and no other reason, I decided, oh no, 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 I'm not having children. No. I decided at a very early age And I never changed my mind, but I didn't mention that to the hospital when I sued them. Yes. Now, performing a vasectomy on someone my age back then, could you imagine the scandal that would have caused? They wanted everything hush-hush. So, even before my attorney had a chance to file the paperwork, we sat down with hospital administrators and their lawyer, and they offered me a very generous settlement, which my attorney immediately turned down and gave them a counteroffer. They came back with an offer of their own, which was even higher than their previous one, and I took it. And I was perfectly happy to sign a confidentiality agreement. Now, here's the thing, that confidentiality agreement only covers the settlement amount. And as long as the hospital continued to exist, I could never tell anyone about the mistake they made. Well, about 10 years ago, the hospital shut down completely. Completely. Yeah, there's an apartment complex, condominiums where the hospital used to be. So I can talk to anyone I want about this. And I'm talking to you, Gerald. You want to know why? Because it is literally impossible for me to have children. And because, well, I found out something very interesting. You and Cynthia are very close. Always have been. Almost from the start. Now, what could cause brother and sister to not be close at the start? Well, that would be if they're actually stepbrother and stepsister. Yeah. You know, it's funny how Cynthia never told me. I mean, here's the thing, Gerald. Because of that settlement, I took the money, I bought a nice house, I bought a really nice SUV back then. And I took most of the money and I didn't put it into a bank. I actually invested it in a business, a mechanic's garage and gas station, just as an investor. Well, guess what? That gas station was the only one in town. Small New York town, upstate New York. It was the only one. That gas station, mechanic shop, yeah. That was 25 years ago. It's still there. It's still there, Gerald. Every now and then I go and visit that beautiful business that generated so much revenue for me. I was able to move into a bigger house. I was able to buy more cars, and I still have a ton of money in the bank. And your stepsister nearly got half of it. Yeah. You know, here's the thing, Gerald. I treated Cynthia very well indeed. And she lied to me. The first time she told me she was pregnant, I gave her the benefit of the doubt. Oh, she must have made a mistake, because it's impossible for me to have children, Gerald. So I gave your sister, oh, I'm sorry, stepsister, the benefit of the doubt. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I did. She must have just made a mistake, because, well, let's face it, it's embarrassing for a man to admit that, yeah, I can't actually have kids. I'm shooting blanks. It's embarrassing. And I planned on not telling anyone, but I'm telling you this right now. Because after I gave her the benefit of the doubt, she showed me the home pregnancy test. I was like, okay, well, those things aren't 100% accurate. A lot of things could cause a false positive. How do I know? Well, I do have a cousin who's basically like a little sister to me. Grew up with her. And, yeah, she and her husband have been trying to get pregnant for quite a few years, and they have had a few false positives with those home pregnancy tests. So we decided to make absolutely certain that Cynthia was pregnant. So we went to the doctor, and she took, I don't know what it's called, but apparently doctors have a very accurate paternity test. And she took it, and it turns out she's pregnant. And that's when I knew. That's when I knew, Gerald, that she was cheating on me. I knew it. I knew it. And well, I just didn't know whom she cheated on me with. During the next 9 months, I kept a very close eye on her. I even hired a private investigator to tail her and keep track everywhere she went. And, well, turns out she didn't go to too many places. Oh, yep. That's the lights. They sometimes act up. It's a beautiful house, but it's an old house, so it sometimes happens. But yeah, getting back to your stepsister, turns out she doesn't have a lot of male friends. Actually, she doesn't have any. And she works in that beauty salon where everyone who works there, even the owner, is a woman. As a matter of fact, during these 9 months that she was pregnant, she only ever interacted with 3 men. Me, her fiance, of course, you, her stepbrother, and Grandpa, her grandfather. Yeah, her senile grandfather, whom she would visit for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, 3 times a week, and that was it. Drop off some food, drop off some candy. That's it. That's it. So since I couldn't get her pregnant, and I seriously doubt Grandpa was doing the nasty with his granddaughter. No, actually, Gerald, you watch your mouth. Because honestly, I've got the surveillance tapes. Yeah, that private investigator wasn't cheap, but she was money well spent. Oh, that's right. She. Yep, I hired the best private investigator in all of New York State, and it just happens to be a woman. Yes, she did an excellent job of keeping a close eye on my fiancé. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I appreciate the fact that Cynthia uh, pushed back the wedding date until after she had the baby. Bit of an odd thing, but I'm glad she did that. Anyway, all the cigars I gave out to the guys in the hallway, you know, normally the one person who doesn't get a cigar is the father. And since I'm not the father, I guess I get to keep this one. Don't I, Daddy? That's right. Now here's what's going to happen. You're going to get the hell out of my home, and you're going to tell Cynthia that we are over. We're done. I don't owe her a damn thing, and we're not married. So the relationship is over. As for the two of you, go do whatever the hell you want to do. I don't care. Yeah, I get it. Technically, you're not related. Stepbrother, stepsister. It's still disgusting. Get the hell out of my house, Gerald. We're done here.